Okay, good morning. We have Stephanie. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so we are here starting our sort of flagship Q&A, and I'm wondering this morning if you have a story, if you have a question, if you have a comment, something you want to share, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I've got a question for you guys. I know that you both have mentioned protecting late talkers from the system. What are some ways that parents can do this?
Wow, great question, Stephanie. Your late talker is part of the community. Oh man, that's a big question. I think a lot of the ways that you can do it is, one, to know that your child is part of the community. And I think a lot of upfront meetings, meetings with maybe the preschool teacher, with maybe the daycare at your church or synagogue or club or whatever you're going to go to, where they, maybe have a daycare for kids, or somebody's putting on some sort of little festival in the park. As much as you can meet somebody involved with that and get a sense, get a gut feeling about it, that it's something that you want to expose your child to, and if these people that you connect with them and you know that it'll go well for your child, I think that's one thing you can do to avoid unfortunate situations. And what about, Steve, when you are in the situations where you feel like you're not included, or they hold a different bar for your child just because they're not talking? And there's so many situations that I've run into where kids go to preschool, they're not, or even, primary or even older, they maybe aren't behaving like all the other children, but by no means are they disruptive, or aggressive, or not learning. And oftentimes that experience isn't positive for them, and they're often even asked to leave. So this is a great question. I'm going to see what you have to say about that.
Yeah, so the foundational principle is that you know your child better than anyone. And a lot of times services and the quote-unquote system is really designed to generate a label and then a placement. And oftentimes there's a pre-selected set of goals that are applied, and those probably aren't going to fit your child. And so it's really, really important that you trust your own instincts. And what you're really looking for more than anything is that you want people who are interfacing with your child who sees them as you see them, as somebody who's positive, somebody who's interesting, and basically you want a sense that they like your child. You also want to work with a system or people in the system that are going to listen to you and take what you say into account. It may be that they have expertise and suggestions to help you on your way, but you should be a valued partner in the process. And the minute you don't feel that, walk away, because it's just not going to end well if they have a negative attitude towards you and your child.
Yeah, and I would say this too. One of the things you want to look at are people that want to communicate with you, right? People that want to talk with you, let you know how your child's doing. A lot of times your child will get involved in some organization, and then, really you don't hear a lot until people tell you it's not working out. The last thing I would say too is, I remember when I was going through this with my own child, there were many times when I was so happy with the support I was given, but there were also times when I was highly disappointed. And in that moment in my journey, I did not have the bandwidth to kind of pull out from supporting my child and raising a young family to go and, get justice or fix a situation or let people know how I felt. And to the extent you can do that, fine. But just remember, you don't have to do it right now. Find the right places for your child. Do it with your own instincts. They're very good. And remember, later, you can pay it backward almost. You know what I mean?
Yes, I think that's great. There are a lot of situations, and we have experienced a lot of situations where, people will act like the fact that he isn't, very conversational is something stranger than what it is. And they really kind of like hone in on that. And so, yeah, I think like we've had trouble finding things to get involved with, but we're just going to keep trying. But no, I definitely agree. I've had a lot of gut feelings about things and maybe pushed through some things that I should have walked away from.
Well,
sooner.
I think that's a common experience for all of us. to some extent, whether you have a late talker or not.
So I think there's another dynamic here that you've kind of indirectly hit on that I do want to mention quickly, and that's that when someone comes to you with expertise and they have a certain status, even though they're offering advice that may not necessarily be how you know your child, it can be intimidating. People may have a sense of authority. They may not necessarily take feedback well. It can be very difficult when someone says, you need to do this, and this, or your child will never talk, or some of the things that are being told to parents. And it takes a lot to stand up and step back and say, that's not really how I see my child. And I understand that, and that's very difficult in the face of experts.
Yeah, actually, Stephanie, I think you bring up such a good topic. I think we should have a whole episode, just a whole question and answer about the kinds of things parents are told. I think that could be another whole episode.
Is there any advice you want to offer to other parents about your own journey that may be helpful to others?
Yeah, I think like you said, trust your gut. And like, if you don't feel good about something, or you're getting kind of a weird read on something, like, it is okay to back up and punt, like to try again, to move elsewhere. That would be like my biggest thing. Like y'all said, trust your gut.
Yeah.
There's been so many times where I'm like, I don't feel right about this. And other people will be like, I think you're just looking too into it. And it turns out, there was like something I was picking up on. I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
Yeah, I tell my students that I never use the words "you're in denial" to any parent ever. And if you hear those words, really think about what the message is you're receiving.
Pay attention to all the good vibes, but also, like I always say, pay attention to the uh-oh feelings, because if you're getting an uh-oh feeling, you need to step back.
There's a reason.
Yeah, and go forward when you don't have that uh-oh feeling anymore. So any encouraging words for some of our late talking families out there?
Just keep going. It gets better. It's tough, but they're so worth it, and enjoy all the creative and quirky things that they have to offer. I think it's been hard, but it's been really fun too.
That's awesome. And that's a sentiment we hear from a lot of parents. So it's great. All right, Stephanie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.